Welcome to the Road to Redemption podcast with your host, Cam Williamson. Each week, Cam sets out to shatter the labels and stigmas associated with mental health awareness by giving life lessons and raw overviews of events happening around the world.
All right, what is up, guys? Welcome back to this episode of the Road to Redemption podcast. I'm, as always, your grateful host, Cam Williamson. It's good to be back with you. It's excellent to be back with you. As I said last time, I was dealing with a lot of stuff, and it's gotten worse. Well, it got worse, now it's gotten better, and we're back. So, to kick off where we left off, I guess, last time, I got bit 2 weeks ago by hundreds of chiggers all over my lower body. Right? That sucks. It's no fun. It itches. Suffered for a couple days, went to urgent care. Down the street, told them this is what happened. I thought I had tick bites. They said, no, those are chiggers. Take this steroid cream and oral steroid. Also, gave me a steroid shot in the ass cheek. That was no fun. To me, I'm sensitive to medication. Ibuprofen, Tylenol, I will throw up. I get sick. It makes me anxious. New meds always make me anxious. They said this medication can cause heart palpitations, racing heart. I'm like, well, that's not good for someone with anxiety, right? So I'm a little nervous, but I take it. First day I take it, I'm laying down in bed, and I get a panic attack, a full, feeling of panic that if I don't get up and move, I'm going to die. It lasted for maybe 10 minutes, and it was really scary. I had to just kind of get up and walk around and be like, what the fuck was that? It's been a long time since I've had a panic attack. Well, I took the oral steroid starting 2 days after I got the steroid shot in my ass cheek. And over those 2 days, I had just continuous panic. Like, all of a sudden, I would just be sitting, and all of a sudden, I would get this feeling like I was going to die if I didn't change something instantly. And I was like, whoa, dude. And then I would go through most of my day, and it would be all right, but there would be like 2 or 3 moments in the day that would really spike my anxiety. And I'm like, holy shit, man, this is scary. And I had all this real bad, I still have a cough, but it's not terrible now. It was real rattly and stuff. So I'm like, man, I think I'm having some kind of reaction to this steroid shit or whatever. I'm trying to talk to some people, and they're like, yeah, it can cause racing heart, whatever, but just chill. Well, then Saturday came around, and I took my meds without food because my stomach was tore up the night before. My stomach was just in shambles. I literally felt so sick. Couldn't eat anything that night. Woke up that next morning, couldn't eat anything. Took it, and they said don't do that. They said don't do that. I fucking took my meds, and within 3 hours, and I'm home by myself with my daughter, so I had to call my wife, get her to come home from work. I'm on the ground in the bathroom, throwing up while my daughter is sitting in the living room. And I'm telling her, I'm so sorry, Daddy's so sorry. I'm trying to get Mommy here. My wife had to call one of my kids' old daycare teachers who gave us her number when she left the daycare and was like, hey, if you guys ever need a babysitter, we really trust this lady. So we were like, yeah, I'll call her, get her here just so she can sit with my daughter while I was in the bathroom because I clearly couldn't do anything. But at the time, I'm also having severe panic because now I think that something's wrong with me. I'm not equating it to this med's already messing with me. Now I took it without eating. Now I'm just in full panic that something's wrong with me, that's closing up, that, whatever. And the night prior, I had a full panic attack where I had to wake my wife up and have her just sit with me and hold me because I was, and rub my shoulders and rub my head and shit because I literally was trying to stop myself from calling the ambulance thinking I was dying. So 2 days ago, and my wife is here with my daughter. It was Sunday, and everything was pretty much fine. I had stopped taking the Prednisone the night or after I got really sick, so I was off of it for about a day, about 24 hours. My wife goes to the restroom, my daughter's in doing something, and all of a sudden I get an intense feeling of panic. Like I'm dying 1,000%. Panic. My face is numb, my hands are going numb, my heart's racing, I'm sweating, my head's hot. full panic. I run into the bathroom. I start it's just coming. I'm choking on what I think is in my chest and in my throat. I'm coughing. I'm choking. I feel like my throat's closing. And I tell my wife, I say, I don't think something's right. I think I need to go. I think I need to be seen. So I have her call the ambulance, go. I tell them everything, and they're like, dude, you're having a panic attack. You're having a fucking panic attack. You're having a panic attack. And I'm like, God damn it. I just put my family through this because I'm having a fucking panic attack. Like, God damn it. So I tell them, don't waste your time with me. When we get out of the ambulance, I'll just leave the hospital. Don't even, don't waste any time with me. So they fucking wheel me into the hospital. I'm passing all these old people. There's like 3 old people laying on gurneys in the hallway. There's people on top of people. The fucking emergency room's packed. It's a Sunday night. There's just like 2 or 3 old people just laying in gurneys all bruised up. And I'm like, dude, I'm in here for an anxiety attack. Like, you please don't waste time on me. So they triage me. They do an EKG, make sure my heart's good. They listen to my lungs, make sure that's good. They're like, dude, I think you're good. And I was like, well, then please don't waste time running any tests on me. Just let me leave. So they were like, well, we can't keep you. And I told them, I was like, well, I have really bad PTSD from the military, but also I have kind of PTSD from being 5150 last year when I relapsed and had my issue and I got put in the hospital. I was like, well, I wasn't allowed to leave. I thought I was getting help, and then I became a prisoner. So, like, I don't want to put myself in that situation. And again, all this fear and panic was still just running through my body. And, they said, absolutely don't take that med anymore. And it can do that. But the last couple weeks have been really intense, right? And when you have panic attacks, and I asked every medical professional that I could on my route to the hospital and while I was there, and, I said, how is someone with anxiety and health anxiety specifically, panic about your safety, about your well-being and whether you're going to survive, how is someone supposed to know the difference? When to call and when not to call? Because when your throat's closing and your chest and your back feel like you're being crushed and you're puking and you're writhing and you're going numb and shit's starting to get sore and you're like, okay, all roads tell me that I need to get help right now. But then, they all say, well, you just have to learn to self-soothe. You have to learn coping mechanisms. You have to learn de-stressing techniques. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's my breath. I have to learn to breathe deeply, and I do that with meditation and stuff, and we'll get into all that. But it's like, that's a trigger for me when I'm panicking, is to believe that I'm in control of my breath because I believe that I'm going to fuck it up, and I'll do it wrong, or I'll just stop breathing, right? Because it's me, and I'll do it wrong, or something, or I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough to survive. So coming out of the emergency room, I knew that panic attacks was now the enemy, that was the fight I was in. So my wife has been working on something called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, for a while, and I started looking into it, and it really struck a chord with me because a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy stuff is based on your core beliefs, something I've always struggled with. And I've said this for many years. I've always had an underlying feeling that I'm not safe, that I'm not okay, and like if left to my own devices, I can't survive, which I've proven to myself time and time again that that's not true. I was in the military. I've lived on my own. I've lived 30 years of life. I don't know. Again, some therapist that I have talked to about it has said I had an episode when I was 2 where I ended up in a hospital for a very long time, or a couple weeks or months. They thought I had blood cancer, bone cancer. They were trying to rule a bunch of shit out. And I think something about that was kind of as a formula level of who I am. It was traumatic for me, and it left me fearful and scared, especially around medical things, which I don't think is uncommon, but I think, and this is where we have to get into what causes panic outside of just prednisone, which it clearly does. I think I wasn't really dealing with a lot of shit, man. And you don't know that. You don't know that you're not dealing with something until it's staring you right in the face. So things have been crazy in my life recently. Like my wife has been having her own struggles recently with mental health, and that's led to some episodes and me having to be there and not be there and be there for my kids and make hard choices and do a lot of stuff. And I was kind of mentally gripped for like a month or so, 2 months, with just having to be pure on survival skill, survival mode all the time. And then I found, hiking and rock climbing, and I was finally able to release for a minute. But I didn't really consider too, like in rock climbing and in hiking and doing all these things, I am overcoming a lot of fears. I am doing a lot of exposure therapy. I'm being around bugs that I don't necessarily enjoy all the time, and I'm getting out and I'm going places that I don't know, and I'm wandering and I'm exploring and I'm meeting new people. I met a new buddy, Miles, and like I'm doing all these things that are stretching my comfort zones. And I think when I got bit by all those bugs, that really was a worse nightmare come to life for me. Is I'm covered in hundreds of bugs and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get them off. Are they going to get in my private parts? Are they going to get in my ears, my brain, my eyes, whatever. When you're covered in hundreds of microscopic bugs, everything is possible to you. So I think that snap of being covered in bugs like that was something for my brain where it was like, oh, the worst has happened now. Now the worst has happened when we thought it wouldn't. And it was only because I didn't prepare and I didn't wear bug spray like I should have, and I wore shorts, and the trail just, I didn't do the right recon on the trail that I was doing. But it led to me making this decision to go get a steroid for all these bites, which was fine. But it was like when they said, hey, that causes heart palpitations, I was so quick to be like, no, I'll be all right. It's just anxiety. And I noticed I felt shame in myself for doing that at the hospital, where I was like, you guys are messing with me just for anxiety. And I was downplaying anxiety and panic, and I was downplaying what it really was to go through it in the moment because I felt so bad for people having to take care of me. And on the drive home, I kind of realized too, like, oh, that's why I always feel like I'm not safe, because I always feel like I have to do everything myself. It's not that I feel like I'm stranded on my own in random moments. It's that I actually do make it to where I'm the only one that's allowed to call shots in my life or really check in on me and say how I'm doing. I don't let other people look into my life and assess it and go, well, this is good, this is not good. It's all kind of self-done. So when you don't know if you're good and you're not a professional in that area and you're only just leaning on your own understandings, well, for someone that has anxiety and hypochondria, or health anxiety as they call it now, apparently hypochondria is a shame word. It's, which it kind of is for real. People have always said that to me. My dad was always one that was super rough on that, where he's like, you're a hypochondriac, you're a fucking idiot, you're a fucking dumbass. And it was like, hey man, how about you try comforting your fucking kid? How about you try to tell your kid that you're safe, you're okay, you're strong, you're able to do hard things, you're able to withstand. Those are the kind of things now at 30 I'm having to teach myself, because no one ever took the time. And that's where a lot of people, I think, in my life just have to take responsibility for that. And I think my mother feels some of that now. I don't know if she really should, because my mother was always there for me. But like, when I went to the ER, my wife called my mother and told her. So she's panicking, and my mom's trying to work me through all this stuff of like, you have to stop telling yourself lies that you're not well. As much as I appreciate that, and I love my mom, and I appreciate her kindness and her love and her support, I couldn't help but be like, how did none of you guys teach me this when I was young? How did none of you, because this isn't new, I've dealt with panic and I've dealt with feelings of being unwell for a long time. How did none of you think to just tell me, like, Cam, you're safe. You're okay. You're good. You're strong. You're healthy. You're capable. I don't know if maybe it's just too awkward sometimes. I don't know if it's my Midwest upbringing where nothing is good enough. In the Midwest, it's you should feel shame when people are praising you. When people are putting you up or raising you up, or, oh, you did this and that's great, or you're this and that's awesome and we admire this. In the Midwest, from a foundational standpoint, you're raised with this like, oh, no, I'm not that. I didn't do that. Nah, that's not me. That's everybody else. And it's like literally you should take great shame in taking pride in any strength in yourself or accomplishment in yourself. And again, maybe that was just a part of the way I grew up. Nothing was good enough, like for my dad. Nothing was good enough for my grandfather. Nothing was good enough in the sense of like, hey, man, hey, you really did that. You know, you really applied anything, whether it be passion, excitement, creativity. You know, I was celebrated a lot for being funny. People liked the fact that I could remember lines to movies at a young age. So, like, I was always applauded. The big thing was my parents always wanted me to recite the Dear Darla letter from the Little Rascals. Dear Darla, I hate your stinking guts. You make me want to vomit. You are the scum between my toes. Whatever. So, like, anytime there was a lull in the room, my parents would be like, Cam, do the fucking Dear Darla thing. So it was like I always had to be ready to perform, I guess, to find value in myself. And I think that's where a lot of this shit comes from now. But in that, too, in the not having any value unless you're being entertaining, the problem is then you feel like you always have to be entertaining, or you always have to be in control, or you always have to be on. Because if you're not on, then people don't want to, you know, they don't want to see you when you're not on. Because if you're not on, you're not good for nobody. So if you're not on, if you're not special, if you're not, you know, whatever, if you're not leading in sales, leading in grades, leading in passing yards, leading in business, leading in what college were you going to go to, leading in whatever. Everything was like, the best was expected, but the bare minimum was never given. And I think that's a really hard thing to learn as an adult. That people that genuinely loved you failed you in ways. And that's okay, right? That's okay. It doesn't mean that they're bad. It doesn't mean that they don't love you. They did the best that they could, everybody in your upbringing. But it's okay to realize, like, there's a lot of lessons I never learned. I'm finishing my book right now. It's called The Road to Redemption. It's a journey of love and storytelling is the official name of the book, The Road to Redemption, a journey of love and storytelling. And I'm going through that and looking at my own life and finding a lot of these answers as well. I'm finding a lot of these holes in the lessons not learned because my kids are growing up. My daughter's about to be 4 and my other one's going to be 7. I'm getting old. And I'm having to harshly look at my life and go, if I don't learn these lessons now, and some of them are complicated but also very simple, I run great risk of being responsible for failing my kids, and that I will not do. And I felt a sense of empowerment when I was sitting in the back of the ambulance when they told me that it was anxiety and that I could control it. That was the first sense of empowerment that I really felt in over 2 weeks, where it was like, whatever this is, it's been going on, and I have survived. That was what one of the ambulance drivers said is, well, you know, you've been having these panic attacks for a week, and you've survived every one. You're going to survive this one too. And I remember when I got out of the hospital and I got back home and the first little moment of panic hit me, I just remember now I had a new mantra. Not that I was going to die and something was wrong, but I've survived every other panic attack, and I'm going to survive this one too. And if I survive this one too, then I'm going to grow from that. And by growing from that, I'm becoming more valuable for my family. And then the next day I felt better, and there was no panic at all. And I woke up today, and I felt about 85% of my complete normal self, right? I'm still a little tired. I'm still a little drained. I'm probably malnourished a bit. I didn't eat for a couple days, and, my body's still recovering from what it went through over the last few days, but I feel that I've come back and that I've come back to life. And I want to encourage people, don't go to these doctors and get these steroids and these medicines so willy-nilly. There's so many people that encourage me all the way through. Just go get a Z-Pack. Just go get a steroid pack. You'll be fine. It's like, guys, don't put yourself in a worse situation because you're in an uncomfortable one. I would have much rather kept putting on, menthol lotions and itched for a couple days than put my family and myself through weeks, really a week and a half, of multiple panic attacks a day, not really knowing if you could count on me to be there for people and be left alone, like with my kid, because no one knew if I was going to have an episode. And that's not someone that I want to be. And I have found great strength through allowing myself to break. And in one moment of going, I think I need help. I think I need someone to help me. And as bad as I felt in that time, for them to tell me that I was healthy and that I was creating this or that I was making it worse, somehow that was a severe bout of empowerment that I was like, well, if I'm making it worse, that means I can also make it better. And with those two new mantra thoughts that, like, I've survived every panic attack I've had before, so I'll survive this one too, and whatever one I just said that I've already forgot, it's like you have this new mindset with it where you go, oh, I'm having anxiety now. And I speak to it like it's a person in the room. Hi, anxiety. I acknowledge that you're here. I acknowledge what you're trying to do. You're trying to scare me. You're trying to make me move right now. I appreciate that you've done that so many times for me in my past, and that's helped me. You've gotten me out of scary situations and out of bad situations when I needed to. But right now, I'm healthy. I'm happy. I'm content. And then watch this. Your shoulders, relax them. Your jaw, unclench it. Your breathing, if you can make it a little deeper now. I am happy. I am healthy. I am able to do hard things. My body is strong and it's capable, and you start to talk that way. And there's something about that is life-changing. And I think so many people probably grow up with the benefit of, from a young age, people tell them, you're strong, get up. It's kind of a part of the get up, dust it off, rub some dirt on it type thing, where it's like, hey, you're a lot more resilient than you think. There is a benefit to that, but also not validating when you've been run through the dirt and when you've been hurt and how that feels. And, I think there's some damage in there because you don't learn to assess the situation as a whole. If you just gloss over every time you're hurt to get through the game and then you deal with it after, well, you're not really learning how to be sustainable. That's not a rub some dirt on it comes from baseball. And it's like, you're not going to have a long career if you're constantly rubbing dirt on infected wounds and getting them infected and, causing all these problems for yourself. Sure, it's a macho way to get through the game if you're in the championship and everything comes down to this. But if you're a normal person living through life and you get knocked down and, life hurts for a minute, man, nurture that wound. Feel that. Feel the hurt, cry, feel sad, feel angry, feel betrayed, feel disappointed by life, get mad at God or whatever your higher power is and go, man, I'm fucking mad right now. Like, I'm really mad that you're putting me through this, and whether I can handle it or not, I wish I wasn't. And that kind of stuff is okay. That kind of stuff is really okay to talk about and say, like, hey, I'm really mad at life right now. Because sometimes, especially if you grew up in the Christian religion like I did, it could be easy to feel bad for being mad at God or being mad at life when you feel like you shouldn't be allowed to say that. We're like, hey, man, I'm getting handed kind of a fucking raw deal here. And just because you tell me that I can handle it and that it's a part of some path or some journey or some purpose, well, man, it fucking hurts now. And, God will never hand you anything you can't, that you can't deal with is usually what in Christianity they would always say. And it's like, well, man, nobody asked me about what I was willing to endure, and I was not given a promise of what comes if I endure all this. So sometimes I have to wonder, am I strong enough? Is this life bigger than me? Because I know that it is. And I know that at some point it will come and take me out. But I also know I've survived on this planet for 30 years, and I've done a lot of really cool shit. And I've survived a lot of really tough times. And, life is hard. I think the more that we try to make our lives super comfortable, you guys know I'm a cannabis enthusiast. I'm constantly trying to catch a chill. But I feel like the more that I did that, the more I was lessening my ability to deal with normal everyday stress, and now I don't do that anymore. And now I use it solely as a medicinal thing to calm my anxiety or help me sleep or help my appetite or whatever. It's not something that I do to catch a chill anymore. Because now I've learned that healthy everyday stress is actually good for your body to be able to manage cortisol levels and how your body deals with stress and panic and stuff like that. So, guys, I hope this was valuable to you. I hope you got something from it other than don't take prednisone if you have severe anxiety symptoms. And with that, I hope you guys will thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell so you guys will be told as soon as we drop everything. Check out the Road to Redemption podcast.com. We got some new updates going on over there, and I will check in with you guys later on this week. I love you.